What good folks, it's Darktry19 and welcome back to another What If Naruto Became Soldier Part 4. So like, comment, subscribe and share, but besides all that, enjoy the video. Chapter 8 Confessions. You wanna do what? Said Naruto, as he was meeting with the newly appointed female Hokage of Konoha, and he could see she was serious about this. I want to put your ability to fly with that wing of yours down as a bloodline limit and put you under our Clan Restoration Act laws we have set up here in the Leaf, said Tsunade, as she saw Naruto looking at her with a frown, and turned his head to see Jiraiya behind her looking just as serious. So instead of being an agent of the shadows, I'm now a breeding machine for the Leaf, and meant to help produce children that will be turned into weapons, said Naruto, as he saw Tsunade's eyes widen in shock, and Jiraiya frowned at the notion that was the idea that the Hokage would do that to the blonde. No. Naruto, you misunderstand. This will ensure that the councils support you rather than turn against you should the knowledge of Kyuubi being sealed inside of you ever gets out. By doing this, I can protect you better because you will eventually become a clan head, and can state this was a private clan affair. It will ensure that no one in the Leaf tries to hurt you, said Tsunade, as she saw Naruto look away from her, and walk towards the window deep in thought at what she was asking him to do. Naruto knew all about the CRA law of the Leaf, as many Uchiha fangirls were all itching for the instant Sasuke was going to use them to revive his clan, and what was required to properly revive it. In Naruto's case, it was start a clan of his own, which followed those very same rules, and was listed under the CRA sectional laws of Konoha. You are asking me to sire more beings like myself into this world. Each will be powerful in their own right and many will seek them out to use them for various means. To make myself, as well as the mothers of my children, and the children I sire be targets for just about any ambitious fool wishing to exact some form of revenge against me, said Naruto in a cold voice, as he turned his head to face Tsunade, and saw her wince at that with the Toad Sannin doing the same. Don't you even want to continue your bloodline? Your very legacy will be passed down to your children and no one would have to know who the mother of your children would be with the exception of a few people, said Jiraiya, as he saw Naruto narrow his cold eye slightly at him, and it made the Toad Sannin nervous. My legacy? My legacy will be that of flying angels of death. For such a self-conscious village that hates to kill needlessly, it seems you don't mind that someone of my caliber siring children to follow in my footsteps, and leaving their own trail of death throughout the elemental countries, said Naruto, as he turned to look out the window, and spotted several people below with his sharp eyes that were all smiles on their faces. At least consider it, all right Naruto? Said Tsunade, as she saw this boy was trained to embrace absolutely nothing, and was made to believe that value in something was strictly a point of view. Very well Hokage-sama, though I wouldn't get your hopes up. However, if by some mere chance that I do wish to start a clan, the potential women that will have my offspring will be chosen by me, and for my own reasons without question, said Naruto, as he left to clear his thoughts on the matter, and left a sighing exhausted Hokage with an equally exhausted Toad Sannin. Do you think Naruto will do it? Said Tsunade, as she saw Jiraiya think about it for a second, and then shrugged since no one could really figure the kid out. Your guess is as good as mine, Tsunade Heim. Though Naruto is right about how his kids will be real powerhouses and any one of them could be a target by his enemies for capture or even an assassination, said Jiraiya, as he saw Tsunade sighing again, and rubbing her temples to remove the huge headache she just had herself. Yeah well, he is Minato's son, but I can't reveal that yet for a few more years, and even now would cause a lot of problems with Iwa since they are bitter for what happened in the last war, said Tsunade, as she knew that Iwa had tried to find out if Minato had a child, and where the boy or girl was. If they only Iwa knew. We should also have Naruto tell those close to him about the Kyuubi being sealed inside of him. If Akatsuki finds out that people don't know that Naruto hold the fox, they will leak the information to everyone themselves, and it could spell trouble for the Gaki, said Jiraiya, as he knew that those close to Naruto could handle this secret, and those that did not hate him would be considered the blonde's true friends. That's just great, Jiraiya. As if Naruto doesn't have enough on his plate dealing with the Akatsuki organization, but the two Baka councils, and the mere fact we're stating he has a bloodline so he falls under CRA laws isn't enough for him already, said Tsunade, as she saw Jiraiya looking at her with a rare seriousness, and decided to hear the super pervert out. I'm not suggesting we shout it out for all the elemental countries to hear, but only those that we know Naruto can trust, and it might help the blonde open up more, said Jiraiya, as he knew that some secrets are meant to be kept a secret for revealing it would cause a backlash, and not everyone would be so understanding. I'll consider it, but let's give Naruto a few days to digest what he is already, and then talk to him about this, said Tsunade, as she didn't want the blonde to think they were trying to pin him down, and force the poor boy to stay here in Konoha against his will. Few days? How going to giving Naruto a few weeks and a hell of a lot of fiber, thought Jiraiya, as he didn't think a few days would be enough, but decided to let Tsunade make the call on this, and wait to see what Naruto did. At the Uzumaki household that night, Naruto was in his room staring out at the window deep in thought at the news Tsunade told him about wanting to have him starting his own clan and having multiple wives for maximum effect in making a strong clan with many offspring. Naruto knew that such a thing would keep him in Konoha indefinitely, which would mean his days of being an independent mercenary under the employment of the Leaf would be at an end, and put him as a member of the Leaf. Not a shinobi like the others, mind you, but still one of its forces, and still under the direct command of the Hokage. "You are troubled," said Haku, as she came into the room after sensing his aura was now raging like a storm, and it only happened Naruto felt disturbed by something that he was undecided about doing. "I just came back from a meeting with the Hokage. She wants to have me start a clan. To start a family here in Konoha," said Naruto, as he explained how his wing and flying put him up for starting a clan in Konoha with CRA rules applying and having multiple wives. "Do you want a family, Naruto-kun?" said Haku, as she walked quietly towards him. Her heart was beating 3 times the pace it had been when she walked in, and inside the former servant of the late Zabuza was hope Naruto would say yes to having a family.
"To be honest, Haku-chan, I had not even considered it, and for the first time in my life I am frightened."
"If that is the correct term for what I feel inside. Does that make sense to you?" said Naruto, as he turned to face the girl, and saw her walking towards him with a look in his eyes that spoke of wanting him. "It does, Naruto-kun. All your life, you have been a being of death, trained to take the lives of other, and now you are being given a chance to help create life. You have not experienced such things before, and the prospect of doing something like this frightens you because it goes against what it is you do," said Haku, as she had now wrapped her arms around Naruto, and breathed in all of his being, and let her own aura wash over his to soothe it. "Any child or children I sire would become a target to all my enemies. They would be hunted like animals. The same for their mother," said Naruto, as he was calculating everything within his mind, and it was making him feel things he didn't know existed. "Not if you are there to nurture them and have the support of the mother of said children that are brought into this world," said Haku, as she blushed at the prospect of being the mother of his child, and imagine what they would look like. Do you think I would make a good father to my child, Haku-chan?" said Naruto, as he understood a child's development was determined by the environment, and by the very parents/guardians the child is raised by. Naruto had never known his parents, which was fine with him, and accepted Sephiroth as his parent/guardian/teacher in all things that the man taught him. However, the concept of being an actual father, watching something he had created with another grow under his watch, and possibly succeed Naruto in what he was had an impact on his mind. "You would be a great father," said Haku, as she closed her eyes, and hummed slightly into his shoulder while sensing his aura was slowly submitting to hers. "Thank you, Haku-chan," said Naruto, as he found himself becoming sleepy, and what was even more surprising was he couldn't fight it. He's so taxed right now. The Akatsuki organization, Kumo wanting him dead for taking Yugito away from them, and now this news about starting a family/clan is putting even more pressure on him. "It's amazing Naruto-kun has lasted this long," thought Haku, as she would have been pulling her hair out in frustration at everything that had happened so far if it was focused entirely on her being, and here this boy was taking it without so much as a building being blown up in frustration. Gently guiding the tired blonde to the bed, Haku sat Naruto down, and watched him close his eyes to the embracement of sleep before she kissed him on the forehead. Putting the covers over his body, Haku left the room before looking back, and left to tell the others not to disturb him. Inuzuka clan. A few days later, Naruto walked into the kennel area, as he saw Inuzuka Hana waiting for him, and he noticed she had a bit of glow about her. Ignoring it, Naruto followed Hana to where the prize dog awaited the blonde, and noticed the woman beside him was quite pleased. It took a lot of checking, but this dog's lineage has been bred from a long line, which has had to deal with the same lineage as the fire daimyo wife's cat Tora, and can easily be around cats easily, said Hana, as she opened the cage door so the little dog could walk out of the cage, and let the puppy look at its potential new owner. "I assume the dog will require shots, obedience training, and the like while growing up," said Naruto, as he saw the dog looking up happily at him, and seemingly unafraid of him. "A rare thing indeed." "Yes, but you can always go to me for that since I am a licensed vet, and can keep track of your dog's progress while he grows," said Hana, as she saw Naruto kneel down, and do his own inspection of the little puppy before the dog licked his face. In Hana's mind, her dog instincts were kicking in to tell her to lick Naruto's face too, but had to keep them at bay since it would be unprofessional to simply jump the blonde, and it would stain the reputation of the Inuzuka clan. Hana still remembered that day when her mother came home after some clan business was taken care of and she told the older woman about Naruto visiting the clan home for a pet. After explaining everything, the Inuzuka clan matriarch laughed at Hana's excited face, and the fact the young woman her daughter was turning into was now wondering what the hell was going on with her. According to her smiling mother, Hana had, in a nutshell, found herself in the presence of an alpha male, and a powerful one at that if all the dogs around the blonde submitted to him just by his presence alone. It was only natural, based on their animal instincts, that the female members of the clan seek out potential alpha males, and mate with the chosen man. Though what made Tsume really laugh at her daughter was the fact it was Naruto of all people whom Hana had become attracted to. The boy was several years Hana's junior, but it was clear to the Inuzuka woman that Naruto was not some weak child training to be an alpha, and the way the blonde moved signified he was already. Naruto had long since earned his bones and the right to be called an alpha male. Especially if what Anko told her in passing was true about another part of Naruto. "Is this dog the only one?" said Naruto, as he petted the dog gently, and found the dog was being quite obedient for one so young. "The only one of the whole litter?" "Yeah. It's strange really because this one here always seemed to distance itself from the others and I was concerned he may be the run of the group at the time," said Hana, as she had seen the little puppy being different from the others, and showed some signs of being a runt. "What do you think, Kyubi? Is the puppy worthy?" thought Naruto, as he wanted to hear his demon's thoughts on the subject, and could sense the fox studying the pup. "This one does not fear you, but is ready to learn. Not unlike you when you were a child being trained by Sephiroth. Let's put the dog to the test," said Kyubi, as he saw his vessel nod, and hoped this little thing before them could live up to its new master's expectations. "I'll take him, Hana-san. Give me the paperwork and I'll fill it out right now," said Naruto, as he saw Hana hand it to him, and went through all the means of making this official before paying her what was owed for the puppy. "If you have any need for future pets or you just want to visit Naruto-kun, I will be here at the clan house, and at the vet clinic," said Hana, as her instincts decided to kick in, and basically leave a big hint that she was interested in him. "That's good to know, as I can visit you at either place to inspect my new dog, and make sure he's in perfect health," said Naruto, as he saw Hana blushing, and saw the tall tale signs of attraction aimed at himself. "Yes. Do visit me, Naruto-kun, and I can inspect the impressive animal currently in front of me," thought Hana, as she was burning up again, and trying to control herself with this time being even more difficult. "From this day forward you my little puppy will be known as Zabuza," said Naruto, as he heard the puppy let out a bark in approval of the name, and began following the boy to its new home. Uzumaki household moments later. "He's so kawaii," yelled Haku, as she proceeded to smother the puppy named after her late father figure into her bosom, and Kin did the same while Yugito hung back to watch the dog from a respectful distance. "If you think that the dog will be a problem because of Nibi inside of you, Yugito-chan, I made sure this dog is respectful, and doesn't harass the feline-based species," said Naruto, as he saw Yugito's irritation at the fact he got a dog, and would put her at odds with the small animal. "Still, did it have to be a dog?" said Yugito more to herself than Naruto before her eyes widened and looked at Naruto to apologize to the boy for insulting his choice of animal to bring home. The blonde simply raised his hand lazily to tell her it was all right. "I understand. Just give the puppy a chance. That's all I'm asking, Yugito-chan," said Naruto, as he saw Haku look at him with a silent, "Thank you," and so did Kin since she liked dogs too, though not as much as Haku. "Don't worry, kitten. The dog may be a new addition to the household, but at least it won't want to bed with our Naruto-kun, and we will be his favorite pet pussy to have around," said Nibi, as she smirked at Yugito's blushing face, and ignored her vessel's ramblings about being stuck with a perverted Nico demon. Yugito would have said more, in her mind, but a knock came at front door, and when Naruto opened it there was Yugao in her Anbu uniform with mask. "Naruto-sama, the Hokage needs to speak with you about something important," said Yugao, as she saw him nod, and followed her to the Hokage tower. "Why must they burden with so much?" said Haku, as she saw Naruto heading to see the Hokage more often than she would like, and it was becoming a great concern. "Maybe it is a mission this time and not wanting his answer to starting his own clan," said Kin, as she saw Haku and Yugito blush at that memory while feeling heat rise to her own face. "Uzumaki ni Yugito. It has a certain ring to it," thought Yugito, as she blushed at the idea of being Naruto's wife, and the children they would have. "Uzumaki Momochi Haku. I must make it a reality for him," thought Haku, as she petted the dog, and let it lick her face. Hokage's office at the moment. Your newest request is putting me in an even greater position of being considered a threat not only to others outside the village, but within it too, and I do not like it one bit, said Naruto, as he stared at Jiraiya, and then at the Sandaime to find them silent on the matter. Naruto, what the Akatsuki now knows will put you in danger if they decide to leak that information out if they learn that no one knows about it, and we're not talking about the entire village knowing about the Kyuubi. Just those close to you, said Tsunade, as she saw that trusting people with his secrets was something Naruto was a novice at. But when you consider his secret, and the fact the location it would be divulged in, well, he wasn't really at fault. What about the councils? The clan heads? I doubt they will be so understanding. They may even push the issue that Kyuubi has made me what I am, said Naruto, as he was not about to do something that would put himself in danger, and those he lived with, since they would be seen as collaborators of the Kyuubi. We'll keep them in dark, Naruto. We won't tell them anything. Remember, you said we could deny knowing, and we will with everyone else if that is what you want in order to protect them, said Tsunade, as she saw Naruto nod his head, and then sighed in what almost sounded like defeat. We do what we must, I suppose. Very well. Summon them here, from the rookies to Yugao-san's Onbu unit, and leave out Team 7 since they are not to be trusted, said Naruto, as he saw Tsunade, and the others frown at the last part. Why Team 7? Said Hiruzen, since it was a bit of an odd request. Sasuke cannot be trusted with such information. The Haruno girl will tell anyone within hearing distance, and we know the other boy Sai reports directly to Danzo, said Naruto, as he saw Tsunade nod in agreement, and so did the other two behind her. Alright. I'll set it up. Just take it easy until then, Naruto, said Tsunade, as she heard a hollow, and uncomfortable sound coming from the spiky-haired blonde. It was Naruto, laughing. Take it easy? I don't know the meaning of that term, said Naruto, as he vanished just like that, and it made everyone feel really depressed hearing it. Unknown location. This most recent news about the Kyuubi's location is most disturbing to hear, said Pain, as he saw the other members of the infamous Akatsuki organization appearing via their projections in a circle formation. To do that to Itachi is no small feat. Such mastery at that kid's age is unheard of. Did Jiraiya of the Sannin train him? Said Sasori, as he knew that only someone of Jiraiya's level could handle Itachi, and Kisame at the same time, so an apprentice should be able to do the same if only for a short amount of time. I highly doubt it. Jiraiya has been away from Konoha and without the boy since the end of Kyuubi's attack on the leaf, said Pain, as he had been watching Jiraiya since the end of that particular event for the leaf, and knew for a fact the Sannin didn't bring an infant with him during that time. Could the Kyuubi have taught the boy? Said Konan, as it wasn't uncommon for a vessel of one of the tailed beasts to learn things, and help in their mutual survival against things that would try to destroy them. Possibly, but I doubt it. From my own research, the Kyuubi believes in causing only destruction, and to help its vessel would not be in its nature, said Pain, as he wondered just who it was that taught the boy, and helped tame the fox in such a way to help the blonde. Still, with Itachi out of action, and Kisame needing another week to heal is not good for our schedule. Even more troubling from our reports, is the Nibi vessel is living with the Kyuubi vessel, and seems to have formed an attachment each other, said the white-faced side of Zetsu, as he heard murmuring from the others, and then his other side decided to speak up. We need to get that Kyuubi boy and the Nibi bitch for our plan to work, said the dark half of Zetsu, as he saw Pain nodding in understanding, and then turned to Konan. When will Itachi be fully healed? Said Pain, as he entrusted the man's recovery in the hands of his origami angel, and knew she could handle it. His wounds are extensive, Pain-sama. While Kisame will need another full week, Itachi will require 2 more after that to heal, and another to perform his duties. A full month if I continue the healing plan I set up, said Konan, as she saw Pain nod, and turned to face the others. But how do we deal with the Kyuubi boy? He took 2 of our strongest members down easily and he is rumored to be learning from the Jiraiya now, said Zetsu's white half before his darker half decided to speak up. We need to kick his ass in retribution, said the darker half of Zetsu, and seemed to be agitated right now. We'll deal with them later. For now, we will focus on other things, and gather the other tailed beasts before we go after the Kyuubi vessel, said Pain, as he saw the others nod before they all vanished with the exception of Pain himself, and another figure in the darkness. This action by my old pet is indeed most unusual, though Kyuubi never did like taking orders from me, said the figure in the darkness. Your eyes allow you to enter a person's mind with enough focus. Could you do it again and destroy the supposed bond Itachi spoke of, Uchiha Madara? Said Pain, as he saw the man smirk, and reveal his perfected Sharingan eyes. I did it before and I can do it again. Let the boy take on the others and let him slay them all. When it comes down it, I will be victorious, and the QB inside of him will die at my hands to pave way for something greater, said Madara, as he saw faded deeper into the darkness, and left pain to himself before the man left his own projection. Uzumaki household, Naruto-kun, the Hokage requests our presence in her office, said Haku, as she got a bird summons land on an open window, and the scroll on it from the desk of Tsunade herself. So it begins, said Naruto more to himself than anything, but Haku heard it, and he sensed her concern. Naruto-kun, what's wrong? Said Haku, as she had sensed something bothering him, but had kept it hidden from her with greater ease than last time, and she did not want him to be burdened by whatever it was the Hokage had delivered. Nothing, Haku-chan, said Naruto, but even for his skills in being a deliverer of death, which included lying, the spiky blonde-haired former soldier knew that anyone could see it was a lie, and knew Haku could see it clearly. You normally don't lie to me, Naruto-kun. Why now? Said Haku, as she felt his aura of power swarming again, but not like the raging storm it had been before, and seemed to be a rainstorm than the viciously thunderous one from days earlier regarding the CRA. Haku-chan, would you care about me if a secret about my person, which I had kept from you, and others was revealed? Said Naruto, as he saw Haku look at him with increased worry, and wondered what he was getting at. I care about you now and forever, Naruto-kun. We all do in this house. Nothing you say, do, or did before you came into our lives could change that, said Haku, as she knew that the blonde had done what some would consider evil deed, depending your point of view, and hate him for such things he had done. Haku wasn't like that. She saw into his being and saw none of the evil many in Naruto's position were plagued with and succumbed to when lost in the seas of power. Naruto had been taught, trained, and had obeyed a master much like Haku had. A follower first and a leader to others second. That's how it went. However, Haku knew that whatever this secret Naruto had, it was so great that he felt it would possibly threaten the connection they had together. What he had created with all of them. Yugito, Kin, the rookies, the Jounin, Anbu, and anyone else Naruto had bonded with in his own way with the people of Konoha. This secret was a test of such sacred if not precious bonds, to see if they would hold up against this unforeseen phantom that in the Uzumaki's mind threatened to take a few short years' worth of friendship/comradeship that he had forged, and destroy it in a mere few seconds. Will you follow me? If I leave Konoha once this secret is out? Said Naruto, as he saw her look at him with a mixture of worry, hope, and joy at his word and wanting her to be by his side. I will follow you to whatever end this world takes us and have no regrets, said Haku, as she wrapped her arms around him, and pressed her entire body onto his own to let him know just how much she cared. Then let's go with the others to the Hokage's office and reveal what it is that I have kept from everyone I have come to trust, said Naruto, as he walked out of his room with her beside him, and soon met with the other housemates before setting out to see the female Hokage. Hokage's office moments later, Tsunade sighed, as Naruto finally appeared with the three girls living with him, and noticed the male half of the people here had perverted looks on their faces while dark auras were aimed at the blonde's house guests. The Hokage herself knew that Naruto had not fully decided on the whole start a family/clan and have multiple wives in the near future to do it. If this meeting turned bad, then Naruto would have zero chance of making that happen, and even if he did, the people around them would make the chosen girls miserable. I've brought you all here because of an opportunity, as well as secret related to Naruto has come up, and we all felt you needed to be told about it, said Tsunade, as she saw Haku scowl at her, and moved slightly closer to Naruto in the process. Liar. It's just you, who wants to tell us about Naruto-kun's secret, thought Haku, as she wanted to project her dislike of this action by Tsunade through her eyes, and could see that the Hokage saw it. After speaking with Jiraiya, Sarutobi-sensei, and Naruto himself, we have decided to let him have his own clan. As such, Naruto qualifies to have multiple wives under CRA laws that specify the creation of a clan, or the restoration of a clan, said Tsunade, as she saw the various females of this group seemingly brighten before darkening when looking at each other, and the Hokage knew this could be a problem. Jiraiya was giddy at seeing their reaction and would have written it down in his notebook for his research had Naruto not sent him a death glare that signified a slow painful death unheard of in the elemental countries aimed at the male gender. We already knew that Hokage-sama, said Haku, as she pointed to Kin, and Yugito too, since they cared for the blonde as well. Again the female auras in the room darkened at that while the males began to grow quite fearful for their lives and manhoods. I suspected as much, Haku-san, since the Gaki is your housemate. However, there is some other piece of news that not even you know that Naruto has kept from everyone here, and will now reveal what it is. But before he does, everyone here must realize that what is spoken in this room stays in this room until otherwise informed, and know that you will be punished severely should you do defy me, said Tsunade, as she saw Naruto close his eyes, and then slowly opening them while in rhythm to his very breathing. Time to face the music as they say, my vessel, said Kyubi, as he saw Naruto mentally nod towards him in the shared mindscape, and saw the blonde prepare himself. As you all know, I am not native to Konoha, and from my abilities I was not taught by anyone in the elemental countries. However, it has come to my attention that I was in fact born in Konoha roughly 13 years ago on October 10th, and if you remember your own village's history then you will know it is a day that will forever live in infamy, said Naruto, as he saw the jounin in the group stiffen, their eyes widen, and the blonde could sense the fear from the memory of that very night. That's the day Kyubi attacked, said Shino, as he had paid attention to such details in class regarding history, and saw Naruto nod his head. What you have all come to believe, is that the Yondaime Hokage killed Kyubi using a forbidden jutsu known to only by a handful of people in the leaf, and the price of using it is the life of the person using it. However, the Kyubi did not die like everyone was told by the Sandaime when it was over, and the fox still lives, said Naruto, as he saw many go pale, worried, and fearful of the idea of the Kyubi still being alive. Where is the fox? Said Hinata, as she heard all the stories about the Kyubi, and it would sometimes give her nightmares knowing that something like that existed in this world. He is close by. In fact, the secret I am about to reveal, is that the Kyubi lives, inside of me, and was sealed inside of me by the Yondaime Hokage before his death, said Naruto, as he heard them gasp, saw their eyes widen in shock, and now waited for the bonds he had acquired to be shattered beyond repair. He's sealed inside of you? Said Kiba, as he didn't want to believe it, and he was sure no one else did either. Yes. After the sealing, I was taken away by an individual, who out of respect for doing what he did will remain anonymous, and took me away from the village so my life could be moderately better than what it would have been here, said Naruto, as he now saw the looks of confusion on everyone's face, and how they didn't understand. What do you mean? You saved the leaf from destruction by having the Kyubi sealed inside of you, said Ino, as she saw Naruto have a small smile touch his face, and it was almost showing a hint of cruel amusement. Do you really believe that, Ino-san? History tells us that humans always hate what they do not understand, and that is no different for demon vessels in the elemental countries. Isn't that right, Yugito-chan? Said Naruto, as he saw Yugito nod her head, and decided she might as well come clean with everyone here too. Naruto-kun's right. Demon vessels are hated from the moment a demon is sealed away in them to be used as weapons, but while growing up, they are treated like garbage, and taking beatings to make them submissive to their masters in the shinobi village they're in. Such examples are Subaku no Gara from the Chunin exams for holding the one-tailed raccoon dog, and myself for holding two-tailed Nibi, said Yugito, as she saw them looking at her with surprise, and was waiting for them to jump away from her. So if Naruto had stayed in Konoha, he would have been persecuted by the people in it, and possibly even some shinobi too, because the fox's attack on the leaf had killed so many, said Kurenai, as she knew Iruka lost his parents, and several friends she knew had also lost family to the Kyubi too. Which is why I had hoped to keep this a secret from everyone and take it to my grave. However, due to the Akatsuki organization consisting of 9 deadly S-class missing nin learning of Kyubi's existence inside of me, I am now a target for their plans like Yugito is, and they will come after us, said Naruto, as he saw them now digesting all of this new information, and then looked at Tsunade doing the same. You didn't want us to know in the belief we would hate and betray you, said Tenten, as she saw Naruto nod, and glance at Haku currently worried about everyone's actions. Yes. To me, such bonds I have with everyone in this room are precious to me, and have more value than any form of wealth this world has to offer. Before I came to Konoha, I was an obedient destroyer, an agent of death that served an even greater one. When I was not training for battle, I was knee-deep in it, and I killed many people where I was, and had never felt such things before in my life, said Naruto, as he felt Haku look at him in surprise since this was the most she heard about it, and knew that such a confession of such things was a crucial point in his life. So, what happens now? Said Choji, as he saw Naruto detach himself from Haku, and walk towards the window to look down at the populace below. Now comes the point where we reach the crossroads of life and all of you must choose what you are going to do with this information. Will you hate me? Shun me? Never go near me again? Conspire in secret to destroy me? Said Naruto, as he continued to look at the populace below, and seeing them all happy without a care in the world. No, I won't hate you, said Hinata, as she decided to be the first to speak, which shocked everyone since she was always so shy, and here this shy girl was speaking out in such a serious voice. "Hinata?" said Kurenai, as she had never seen her student like this before, and wondered what was driving this girl to be so supportive of him. What Kurenai didn't know was that Naruto had paid a visit to the Hyuga compound where certain issues were resolved. Flashback 2 weeks ago, Naruto walked through the long halls of the Hyuga compound. His invitation for being a guest at the clan home to see Hyuga Hyashi was a rare thing for anyone of commoner status, and had to be on their best behavior should they ever be invited back. If even the slightest thing was out of place, not only would you not be invited back, but the opinion the Hyuga clan had of you would be known throughout the village, and it held a good deal of weight. Naruto, however, was not some mere commoner, as he had been the Sandaime's secret weapon, and secret second in command up until Tsunade's term of being the 5th Hokage. Along the way to see Hyuga Hyashi, the blonde former soldier saw several Hyuga clan members nod in respect to him, and several young Hyuga females blushing at the sight of him. Apparently, from what Naruto understood, Anko had basically told just about every woman within the village that he was hung like a bull, and had the head of the village's gossiping network Yamanaka Ino to further support it. So now nearly every young female, whether married or single, couldn't even look at him without blushing from what was told. The only females in Konoha who seemed to be immune to this was Haku, Yugito, and Kin, though that was because they lived with him for long. "Naruto-sama, it's good to see you again," said Hyashi, as he had finally been given the opportunity to have the blonde over as a guest in his house, and was glad he didn't use his Byakugan. "As it is you, Hyashi-sama. You wish to speak to me about something?" said Naruto, as he saw the Hyuga head nod, and motioned him to follow to his private study. "Yes. As you know, my family has been divided due to ancient Hyuga clan traditions, but in these changing times, such laws only hinder the clan, and I need your help in this matter," said Hyashi, as they entered his private study, and put up a sound barrier jutsu so no one could hear them talk. "How so, Hyashi-sama? Killing all your Hyuga elders is not something that I could do unless you and the Hokage herself sanctioned such an action. Something I know she has not done, or else we would be having this meeting in her office," said Naruto, as he saw Hyashi nod in full agreement, since all matters like that would go through the Hokage, and as the blonde said, they were in his office right now, not the Hokage's. "Correct. What I am asking you, Naruto-sama, is to marry my daughter Hinata, and free her from the suffocating life of the Hyuga clan so her little sister can take over as clan head. Once that happens, I will be made a Hyuga elder on our clan council, and will be able to use my influence to remove the cage bird seal with Hanabi spearheading the movement. Like Hinata, I wish for our family to be united, and to right the wrong that was committed against my nephew years ago. He has trained himself into believing that fate rules all and that the Hyuga clan are chained to it like everyone else. He has been considered a prodigy by his peers, and it has given him a sense of arrogance when around others. Please, Naruto-sama, I beg of you, as a repenting father, and uncle of the Hyuga clan, to help me in this matter, since you are the only one who can," said Hyashi, as he got on his knees, and bowed his head until it touched the floor. "You are putting me in a very awkward position, Hyashi-sama. I do not know if I can fully agree to the arranged marriage you wish me to have with your daughter, but I do believe I can help you with your nephew, and remove the arrogance from his being. However, I feel that I must warn you that I will have to hurt him, and send him to the hospital to give Neji the time needed to rethink his position regarding fate," said Naruto, as he saw the look of reluctance on Hyashi's face, and then small silent sigh of defeat, since it was the only way for the Hyuga branch member to learn humility. "Afterwards, could you give him this scroll? It's from his father. I should have given it to him sooner, but I lost the strength to do so long ago, and even now I am a coward," said Hyashi, as he handed the blonde a scroll, and Naruto pocketed it for later. "You can stop being the coward you claim to be, Hyashi-sama, by visiting your nephew in the hospital when I am done with him," said Naruto before he vanished to take care of the matter. End flashback. "You are not the Kyuubi, so I have no reason to hate you," said Hinata, as she boldly took steps towards him, and shocked everyone by hugging Naruto while blushing the entire time. "I agree with the Hyuga girl. You're not Kyuubi, but rather its vessel with a big meat stick, and stamina many women would kill to experience," said Anko, as she got a blush from every female in the room, including Tsunade herself, and the Hokage glared at the woman for that response. Anko's last comment aside, I think you'll find everyone here to be level-headed when it comes to things like this, Naruto-san, and will keep your secret safe, said Kurenai, as she saw Anko stick her tongue out at him, and saw Hinata reluctantly end the hug. Just because you have Kyuubi sealed inside of you doesn't make you the Kyuubi itself, Naruto-san. Just as the Aburame are not insects for holding insects within our bodies, said Shino, as he knew many were frightened by his clan's abilities, and understood why Naruto kept this secret from everyone. One by one, everyone in the group agreed that Naruto was not the horrible monster that the blonde thought they would believe him to be, and showed their support in the matter. Even Neji, who after being put in the hospital for some time, and a visit from Hiashi later on had agreed that Naruto had defied the fate that awaited him if raised here in the leaf all this time. Now that is finished, I still need Naruto's decision on whether to start a clan, and to have multiple wives in the process, said Tsunade, as she decided that it was now, or possibly never in terms of Naruto saying he wanted to form a clan. If not, then he would have to rebuild it under his father's clan name in a few years, and it would be an obligation later on when that happened. At this moment, every single woman in the room aside from Tsunade of course, Shizune was being the receptionist was listening via intercom, was waiting with held breaths, and looked at Naruto for his decision. The blonde himself wasn't sure what to do still when it came to this, as this part of the world had been denied during all the years he was being programmed by Dr. Hojo, and then learning from Commander Sephiroth. Reproducing was within his biological makeup from what he understood, as the fox had told him that such urges would awaken in him in a few years, and would have a high number of sperm due to the amount of mana his body possessed that would also add to the potency. The only question now was, did he want to do the ritual of reproduction and sire a small army of child? Say yes. Say yes. Thought Anko, as she so wanted to be with Naruto not just for sex, but because the boy had been good to her, and held no ill will in his heart because she was the late Orochimaru's apprentice. Sure, he was a few years younger than her, but they were both adults, at least she thought he was, under Konoha laws, and they would have plenty of time getting to know each other better. Naruto-kun is a great sensei when it comes to swordsmanship. He's clear-headed. Doesn't belittle women or think that they are weak. He's not even picky and doesn't mind training non-clan shinobi. Perfect for a girl like me. Thought Tenten, as she was giddy inside, and was hoping Naruto would say yes. Say no. Say no. Don't take all them bitches away from a guy like me. Not to mention that you need to stay away from my sister. Thought Kiba, as he knew his sister Hana was acting like she found the perfect guy for her, and had smelled Naruto's scent at the house before one day making the Inuzuka boy suspect it was the blonde. Again, the very concept of me even being a father of a single child, much less children, wasn't considered on my list of priorities so far into my life, and to be honest, up until now I had not even considered it given what I am. However, I have found people here in the Leaf, who do not fear, and or hate me like I had suspected would. Seeing this new change of events, I will forge a clan here in Konoha, and have multiple wives to make it strong, said Naruto, as he saw the girls cheer, and most of the guys moaning in defeat since that meant they would lose out on getting the girl they wanted. This is fantastic. My research material for my next book is going to be unlimited from this. The lone deadly blonde warrior filled with guilt is given a chance to soothe his soul by marrying multiple women, who love him despite his dark secrets, and wish to show him the pleasures of life through that of the flesh. It's pure gold, said Jiraiya, as he began scribbling down frantically all this information, and stopped when he felt a large amount of killer intent before the Sannin realized that he was in a room filled with a lot of angry females. The men ran away out of fright, along with Naruto looking very angry at him. Anything to say before you die, Jiraiya? Said Tsunade, as she cracked her knuckles, and saw Naruto cracking his neck from side to side to signify he was going to dish it out his own bit of punishment. Don't take away my manhood, said Jiraiya, as he saw them surround him, and ready to destroy his body. I won't, but I'm afraid Anko and Naruto aren't so nice regarding requests like that, said Tsunade, as she saw Jiraiya whimpering in fear, and saw Anko rubbing her hands in an evil manner while removed his cloak before rolling up his sleeves. Oh yeah, it was a bad day to be Jiraiya, and definitely a good day to be Naruto. Chapter 9 Reunion. It was lovely morning in Konoha, as the sun was shining, the birds were singing, and if you looked up in the sky you would see a cloaked figure floating over it while performing taijutsu-based forms while his arms were covered in lightning. At first, people were very much shocked by seeing this boy flying, and even more so for training in the airspace meant for birds. For Naruto, however, it was a place where he could actually find solitude, focus his mana, and, on a more personal note, wouldn't have to deal with fangirls all the time. In the few weeks that followed with the announcement of his secret about having Kyuubi inside of him and about starting a clan due to his wing, the young blonde felt like a secret weight had been lifted. That in itself was surprising since he had never felt that it was a weight on him until after it was revealed, which upon being removed made Naruto feel better for some reason, and decided not to question it since it wasn't causing him any harm. When he wasn't training, Naruto found himself being around his housemates along with the other females of the village more, and even going shopping with them on more than one occasion. even going with them to places that most men would stay the hell away from, like female clothing stores, but it was something Naruto didn't have a real problem with, and gave honest opinions about things that had it been any other male figure would have been beaten to a bloody pulp. Of course, Naruto was not your ordinary male figure, and everyone knew it. However, with every high in a person's life, there was also a distinctive low that follows soon after, and it soon came via message from the Raikage in Kumo. Hokage's office. Tsunade sighed at the message she was reading over before handing it to her sensei, as she didn't like what the demands on it were from the man, and neither did the old retired Sandaime. From the message the Raikage sent, he was tired of being made a fool out of by Naruto for killing his Onbu, and losing Yugito at the same time. So the Raikage had made demands that Yugito be returned to him immediately, or there would be war, with the only other option would be a trade of Yugito for the last Uchiha. Something that was also out of the question. So with a heavy heart, Tsunade had summoned the councils and clan heads together to inform them of this predicament with Kumo. "We cannot give in to these demands," said Homura, as he was outraged that not only would Kumo demand the last Uchiha in exchange for them having Yugito ni, but the fact the woman was the demon vessel of the Nibi, and they were never told about it by the retired Sandaime. "I agree. I say we should mold Yugito to be our loyal weapon and have her along with a platoon of Onbu head for Kumo to kill the Raikage to show we are the stronger village," said Danzo, as he got nods from those around him, but the clan head, since this was not someone you could kill easily, and it could backfire on them. "Ni Yugito is not a weapon, Danzo. You are thinking just like the Raikage did years ago when he sealed the Nibi inside of her," said Tsunade, as she saw the old man scowl at her, and knew the old war hawk was displeased by her denouncing the idea. "You only say that because she sleeps with that boy, who in my belief is not so loyal to the village like you believe, and should be kept under careful watch," said Danzo, as he was planning on having his root shinobi deal with the boy and the girl soon should this meeting not go his way. "That boy has a name, Danzo. Be mindful of that should you wish to keep your life," said Tsunade, as she knew Naruto's actions were swift on all who cross him, and many had in the process of learning that out the hard way. "I will remember that, Hokage-sama, but all the same it doesn't change the fact that we have a demon vessel in our grasp, and we can mold her into being the perfect defensive weapon needed to shift the balance of power in our favor once more," said Danzo, as he had a look of ambition in his eye, and a hunger for war. "We are not going to turn Yugito into a mindless weapon, and if you keep bringing it up I will consider it treason," said Tsunade, as she saw Danzo grumble at the threat, but he yielded nonetheless, and let her stay in control for now. "Well, we can't just send her back. They would do everything in their power to break her spirit," said Inoiki, as he saw the other clan heads nod in agreement, and didn't want to wish that upon the former Kumo shinobi. "What about the Uchiha? If we don't give them Yugito, they will want him, or else there will be war between our villages. We don't have the strength to handle them right now even if we keep Yugito here in the leaf. We cut our losses and give them the girl," said Koharu, as she saw would rather the demon girl be given to Kumo, and leave the Uchiha in the leaf where he belonged. "If that's what everyone wants, then you can be the one to explain it to Naruto, and see how he takes this news," said Tsunade, as she saw many of them were hesitant to even embrace this decision, mostly because Naruto had no qualms killing them if those close to him were put in danger, and they didn't want to fight the spiky-haired blonde. "We don't wish to provoke young Uzumaki, but surely he will see the village must come first over this girl, and considering what she is," said Homura, as he would have said more if not for Naruto appearing in the room, and he did seem pleased by if his eyes glowing with an angry fire in them. "I must thank Jiraiya-san for telling me of this meeting, and from what I've heard you plan to take Yugito back to Kumo." "I cannot allow this," said Naruto, as he was now looking at everyone, and then at those who suggested this action. "How did you know what it was we were talking about sending Yugito back to Kumo?" said Hiashi, as he knew that only people in this room knew exactly what this meeting would be about, and saw Naruto raise an open palmed hand before creating an orb of energy that revealed the room with them in it. "A simple spell of mine, which allows me to see into this room, and hear the voices of the people in it so long as I'm in the village. After the last meeting the Hokage had with you in regards to myself, I created this spell to make sure that whatever was spoken about me, or anyone close to my person, would not be denied my notice. As for what this arrogant shinobi councilman just said in regards to Yugito-chan, I would think that he would do better to remember that her happiness is my happiness, and all who threaten her happiness are my enemies. That goes for those in this room," said Naruto, as he eyed the people in the room, and saw they were nervous under his eyes. "You dare threaten us? Give me one good reason why you shouldn't be arrested right now and thrown away in a prison cell," said Danzo, as he had not expected Naruto to be here, and aware of what this meeting was about. "Because any attempt you make will result in your lives being forfeit. In regards to the situation with Kumo, I will deal with that myself," and you can forget all about going to war, said Naruto, as he glared at them before he began to walk out of the room, and only stopped when Tsunade spoke. How are you going to deal with this, Naruto-san? Said Tsunade, as she saw the boy turn his head to face her, and had to fight back the shiver that wanted to crawl up her spine. How I deal with all my enemies? I destroy them, said Naruto, as he left the room, and let his words sink in for them understand. Uzumaki household that night, Naruto looked out the window of bedroom, his mind swirling with countless things going at the speed of a supercomputer calculating variables and strategies in dealing with this problem before him. When he came home, Naruto had told Yugito what had happened with the Raikage, telling the Hokage to surrender her back to him, and basically blurted out what she was. Yugito of course was now worried, as it wouldn't be long before the entire village learned of what she was, and come at her with their fear-driving hate to try making her submissive. Naruto told her to trust him, but even still with his assurances on the matter, Yugito still feared that even he could not protect her from the people of the Leaf, and the Akatsuki at the same time. Not to mention Kumo would be out to get her, and this time the Raikage would take more oppressive means to keep her in line. You don't have to feel guilty about this, Naruto-kun, said Haku, as she came into his room to see him like this again, and pressed the front of her body against his back. But I do. Yugito trusted me in protecting her from those that would hate her for what she holds, and I have failed her in that regard. People hate her for what she holds, and they do not know of my own jailer. I feel that I am hurting Yugito the more I do nothing to stop this, and I need to do something to free her from this fear that still grips her heart, said Naruto, as he put a hand on Haku's own, which was currently on his shoulder, and gave it a strong squeeze. Haku hummed into his back, as she felt the constant conflicts this boy just a few years younger than her was carrying, and was supporting multiple weighted events that would have crushed anyone else. All she could do at the moment was soothe Naruto's soul, as it struggled not to break under all the strain it was under, and do everything in her power to make sure he didn't crumble. You have to do what you feel is right in your heart, Naruto-kun. You have never doubted yourself before, and I do not wish you to do so now, said Haku, as kissed the side of his neck, and knew that her affections helped him focus by taking away the tension he felt. Even if it means crushing an entire village? Killing the Raikage won't stop Kumo from wanting to go to war with the Leaf. It will make him a martyr. A new Raikage will be appointed, using his or her predecessor as a means to inspire the village to go to war with us, and use Killer Bee as their means to exact revenge, said Naruto, as he had told Haku about the current Raikage's younger brother being a demon vessel like Yugito, and was the second strongest demon vessel right now only when compared to him. What you do to protect us is not evil, Naruto-kun. Everything you have done while in the Leaf has been to ensure we are safe, happy, and give us all that we desire. It is through you, I no longer have night terrors about the times I was in mist, and Kin-chan can sleep in a bed without keeping one eye open. Yugito found friends here, who know what she holds, the Nibi, as well as the Kyubi inside of you, but they do not hate either of you, and will still there when things become darker than the shadows themselves, said Haku, as she kissed him again, and felt the tension leave Naruto's body. You are right, Haku-chan. You always knew what to say to me, said Naruto, as he now turned to face the girl, and in an action he read about in a book, his instincts in this matter were also guiding him, kissed Haku right on the lips. It wasn't easy understanding the ways of relationships with the opposite sex, but Naruto had been studying up on it soon after making the announcement of forming a clan, and felt that it would help in the years to come. He already understood Haku well enough that on some occasions he would let her sleep, platonically for now, in his bed, and they had a few making out sessions like they were having now. The others weren't left out either, as he returned their affection, and they too got to sleep in his bed with him at least once. Let's go to bed, Naruto-kun. You need your rest, said Haku, as she now walked over to the bed after they disrobed of their clothing, and got under the covers to sleep. Naruto in just his boxers, while Haku only wore icy blue bra and matching panties that the blonde thought fit her figure perfectly. As they rested in bed together, Haku would periodically kiss his body, and wrapped her arms around his upper torso while snuggling up to him. As she did this, Haku noticed that more of Naruto's body seemed less tense, and seemed to surrender to the ministrations of her hands. Haku knew that Naruto needed love in his life, as he was deprived of it, and never understood the emotion from the very beginning, having been trained to be what he is now. Haku had vowed that she would show Naruto what love was in all its aspects and give herself to him when he was old enough in just a few years' time. She knew that the others in the house had agreed to do the same, as they cared about Naruto too, and they wanted to return the happiness he had given them. Konoha Underground Base, Danzo walked along the passageway of his prized underground root base beneath the Leaf Village, which was set up shortly after Root had been officially disbanded by the Sandaime. However, Just because it was disbanded on paper didn't mean that the very organization that helped keep the Leaf alive through years of war would leave just like that, and be forgotten with no one to know about it. Danzo had grander plans for the Leaf. Originally, he had conspired with Orochimaru to take down the Sandaime in order to gain control of Konoha, and mold it in his image while taking down the Sannin when he was suspecting anything. However, the boy known as Uzumaki Naruto had helped destroy any future partnership plans with the Sannin to take the Leaf Village, and make it a means to dominate the elemental countries. Naturally, Danzo had been furious to learn the Suna siblings had been let go with Gaara's seal fixed to by Jiraiya to help the youngest of the Kazekage's children, and keep the demon sealed inside of him from getting out when sleeping. Even more so when a new alliance agreement was drawn up after it was learned of how, why, and what brought about the actions of Suna allying itself with Sound in the first place. If Danzo had been Hokage, he would have destroyed Suna instantly in their current condition, and everything they had would be the Leafs now. Now there was this business with the Raikage's prized weapon going rogue on him and ending up right on the Leaf's own doorstep for a time, wanting to live a life of not being a mindless weapon. That made the old war hawk snort, as that was all demon vessels were in his mind, and should be used to their full potential regardless if they don't want to fight anyone. A weapon cannot disobey its wielder because that's all it is, and when it is useless will be thrown away for a much better one. Once again, Uzumaki Naruto was connected to this situation, and would sooner turn on him along with the Leaf if he tried anything. Already several of his agents near the home have gone missing and were most likely dead right now, since the seal on their tongues prevented them from talking about him. However, it wasn't the boy himself that bothered Danzo, but rather the last name, and what it meant if his assumptions about the boy were indeed correct. Many assumed that one Uzumaki Kushina had died during the battle with Kyubi, but many were deceived by this, including the Sandaime's aging heart, and was taken away during it to trap her here in the current little number of a prison he had created just for the whirlpool-born woman. Contrary to what others had believed, Kushina did indeed have a bloodline limit, and it was just like Naruto's ability to fly with just one wing. However, the Yondaime, in all of his infinite wisdom, no doubt to stop the councils from ordering her to produce bastard children, had put a special seal on her, so the only way for Kushina to get pregnant was through the late Namikaze's own genetic material. Meaning anyone else wouldn't get her pregnant if they tried to, which was unfortunate for him, but did not mean other ways of getting her bloodline were not available, and this device was designed to do it. Granted, the end results of extracting the bloodline at the moment was not producing like he had initially hoped, but Danzo was patient enough, and just needed to hold out a little longer before he finally decided to pull the plug on the project. Soon your power will be mine to use for the good of my root shinobi, and then with your power I will make the elemental countries mine, said Danzo, as he looked at the barely conscious woman looking down at him, but even still Kushina glared at him, and the liquid chakra glowed red around her to signify her anger at him. I may be physically weak, Yubaka, but make no mistake, I will get free, and I will have my revenge, thought Kushina, as she only recently had felt the presence long since lost to her by that of her family, and knew that someone of her blood was still alive. Kushina had tried to reach out to that person in the wake of the Suna/Sound invasion of the Konoha, but it had been very difficult, and the thick energy above her blocking the mental signal she wished to make. In fact, she had to wait until Danzo was too busy with the council meetings to notice she was using what strength she still possessed, and again at night when the streets weren't so crowded. The first time she had succeeded, Kushina was surprised to find out it was her son of all people, and in the shock of it all had broke the connection before her son could even detect her. She tried several other times afterwards, but it got harder with each attempt, and Kushina suspected that something else was blocking her. That something else had detected her inside her boy's mind and set up some kind of mental defense to keep her from reaching him. However, just because there was something standing in her way, did not mean Kushina was going to let it stop her from reaching her son, and tell him that she needed his help. She didn't know if he had been told that she was dead, but regardless of that, Kushina would let her cries be heard by her son, and he would follow them here to see what it was this monster had done to her. Even now, after Danzo left to get his own bit of sleep, Kushina was trying to reach her son, and hear her cries for help even if she had to invade his dreams to do it. She would break down the defenses that were keeping her out and show her son that his mother still lived. With Naruto, the blonde in question was indeed sleeping, his mind however, was still working like it had been awake, and sensed something was invading it like before. At first, Naruto didn't even notice it because the entry into his mind had left just as quickly as it had entered, and Kyubi had informed him of it before setting up mental defenses to make it more difficult should it happen again. And it did. However, what surprised Naruto was the fact this alien probe into his mind wasn't like that of the Yamanaka clan's jutsus, but rather something of a different origin, and was related to him from what the boy could determine in terms of blood relation. This of course concerned him, as he did not believe he had any form of family in this world any more than he did in Gaia, and wondered if this was some kind of trick to destroy him from within. Which was why Naruto now had Kyuubi trace the source of this alien probe into his mind and found it was indeed genuine in terms of blood relation. In his mind, Naruto now saw images of a woman with red hair, trapped in a tall cylinder of red liquid glowing, and he heard her cries of pain. Cries for help. Cries for his help. Cries for her son's help. And then abruptly there was a red flash and then, darkness. Naruto instantly opened his eyes and shot up fully awake from what he had just seen with Haku beside him moaning out his name at the lack of contact. Looking down at Haku, he saw her sleeping form gripping his upper torso now, and trying to pull him back to bed. Of course Naruto didn't have the courage to awaken the sleeping ice user, so for the sake of letting the girl sleep contently beside of him, the young blonde retreated back down, and closed his eyes knowing that tomorrow when the sun rose, it would be the last thing her enemies ever saw again. Somewhere else within Fire Country, the night sky above Fire Country was beautiful to all who looked up at it to see the stars, which on this particular night sky there was not one, but two falling stars had come down, and crash-landed in a blast of power. However, if anyone at that moment in time had been around to even see, and investigate such a sight, they would know that this was not some ordinary pair of meteors. Instead, they would see that they were balls of solid energy that held within them two people, and both were now struggling to survive. "CC Cloud?" said a female voice, as she struggled just to breath, and get off the ground from their current situation. "TT Tifa?" said the man identified as Cloud, as he moved from within his crater, and saw they were in some kind of forest. "Where are we?" said Tifa, as she struggled to get out of her crater-sized hole, and saw Cloud not that far away using his large buster sword for support. "I don't know. I remember us dying. But, as we did, something pulled us here when we entered the life stream, and brought us to whatever here is," said Cloud, as he along with Tifa had their fair share of battles long after Sephiroth had gone crazy, and tried to end the world after learning the truth about his mother Genova. "You think we were pulled here for a reason?" said Tifa, as she hadn't felt the pull like Cloud had, but followed soon after, and that possibly because she was connected in terms of a relationship with the man. "Possibly. With Sephiroth gone, it would make sense that there is still something else we missed, and it could be here," said Cloud, as he helped Tifa up, and looked around more to see if there was a road that would lead to a town or a city perhaps. "What about that Naruto kid? The one that Sephiroth was training?" said Tifa, as she was told about Naruto, and how the boy was hit with a banishment spell shortly before the soldier commander went crazy. "This could be the place he was taken to, but it's hard to tell since we are in the middle of a forest, and it is currently nightfall," said Cloud, as they would need to find shelter for the night, and then see if they could track down Naruto in this world. Provided that Naruto is in this world. Konoha. The next day, Naruto walked to a more deserted section of Konoha, as he felt the cries of the woman claiming to be his mother calling to him now once more, and followed it to this area. He knew she was underground, as the state of the buildings here were damaged, run down, and basically considered slums, though the place was more abandoned than anything. When he woke up that morning, Naruto had called a family meeting since they were in a way family to each other in the house, and saw Yugito looking nervously at him. He had assured Yugito again that nothing bad would happen to her in Konoha so long as he drew breath and his heart still beat strongly. However, what he did tell them was about the dream last night, of how he had Kyuubi tracked the source of it to a hidden location deep within the leaf, and the man responsible for it. Naturally the girls grew concerned by this, as Danzo was quite the powerful individual on the councils, and with his own private security force that he used to enforce his own will on the leaf when it suited his interests. Naruto wanted them to speak to the Hokage, to stay around her while he handled this, since the spiky blonde-haired boy knew that Danzo would send agents after them, and try to use them against him as some kind of bargaining chip. When Haku wished to follow him to this secret base to free his mother, Naruto had to decline it, but it seemed Yugito and Kin wanted to help him out too, to prove they wouldn't leave him to whatever it was that he would soon face. However, Naruto had for his part was against them seeing the monster he would become should the sight he see send him into some kind of uncontrolled rage, and no one in his line of sight was safe. Granted, he never went into such a thing, but it was still a chance that it could happen, and did not want to risk them to such cold fury. Still, the girls were all persistent, and held on to him, pleading to let them support him to whatever end while asking that they fight beside him. That he trusts them and their skills in getting the job done to achieve his goals no matter what those goals are. So, Naruto finally caved to their wishes and told Haku along with Yugito to follow him a few paces behind while Kin informed the Hokage since her level was not exactly up there with the others. He entered a door covered in a heavy layer of seals, which if not removed in a certain way would set off an alarm system, and alert his enemies that he was entering their domain. He didn't really care. Without hesitation, Naruto quickly ripped off the sealed door, and entered the room with steps leading down while alarms now echoing everywhere. Sure enough, root shinobi came at him from all areas of the underground complex, and one by one they were wiped out by his sword Muramasa. He turned right at a corridor, then a left, followed by 2 rights, and 3 more lefts before taking one final right to stand in front of a solid steel door with the words Restricted Area Authorized Personnel Only Secret Project Root Winged Angel labeled on it. Naruto narrowed his eyes at the words before ripping the door clean off of its hinges and stepped right through the opening to see the sight that made his body freeze up. His mind was memorizing what he saw and forever burning it into his brain at the sight before him. He took several steps forward, but stopped when Danzo appeared from behind the prison of his mother with a sneer plastered on his bandaged face, and had taken out his sword hidden within his cane. With a snap of his fingers, a platoon of root Onbu appeared that surrounded Naruto with the intent to destroy him at their master's orders, and that would happen with a snap of his fingers. "I see you made it here, Uzumaki-san. Not surprising, all things considered. I have your mother here in this little creation of mine," said Danzo, as he now revealed he had 2 arms rather than just the one, and saw Naruto's eyes looking at him with a look of pure death. "You suspected something upon knowing my name. That she was in fact related to me," said Naruto, as he looked at his mother while his line of sight still stayed with Danzo, so even the slightest twitch of the man's finger would signal his death, and the blonde would take great pleasure in wiping this scum from this world. "Yes. Of course, I wouldn't have to resort to this had your damn father the Yondaime not made a special seal to keep anyone other than himself from getting her pregnant, and I would have artificially inseminated her instead. How you avoided my detection for so long considering your family, I don't know, but at this point I don't care, and I am giving you this one chance to join me in order to bring Konoha to the glory it will be under my rule. With your help, I can make more of you by transferring your bloodline into my root Onbu, and we can conquer the elemental countries with you one day being my very successor. You could become a god amongst men," said Danzo, as he wanted to at least try to get the blonde to follow him willingly to prevent the loss of his forces here should Naruto resist, and help overthrow the Hokage sooner than later. "You think I will just join you simply because you hold my mother here against her will, trying to drain her of a bloodline that is rightfully hers, and you want to use for your own ambitions. That alone makes you worthy of a one-way trip into the 9th level of hell at my hands with all the rage one would find in a vengeful god," said Naruto, as he saw that Danzo frowned at him, and aim his blade the cylinder prison of his mother. "Then let me put it another way. You will either join me or I end the life of this bitch that brought you into this world," said Danzo, as he saw Naruto's eyes narrow, and for a brief moment he thought the boy's pupils become slits. "You won't do that, Danzo, because you know that if she does die, I will break you into tiny countless pieces before I let you die, and I will use my power to heal you before I break your body over and over again," said Naruto, as his mana swirled around him to near choking levels, and the look in his eyes told of a near unlimited amount of ways to make the old shinobi cry out to whatever god would hear him for some form of divine intervention. "Perhaps you will, but I will have the satisfaction of taking away the one person you need in your life than any other, and it would seem rather heartless to let your own mother die with your whores watching behind you," said Danzo, as he looked behind Naruto to see the 2 women behind the blonde, and behind them was Tsunade along with an Onbu detail loyal to her. "Kushina," said Tsunade, as she had spoken to Kin, who told her what Naruto had said about his mother being alive, and deep in an underground base being held against her will by Danzo. "Stay back. All of you are not to interfere. This is a personal matter that must be handled in my own way," said Naruto, as he saw Danzo now looking like a wounded and scared animal, as it was clear the man had not anticipated the Hokage's arrival. "I warned you, boy. Now watch as I end your mother's life and send her straight to hell," said Danzo, as he was going to use this and his root shinobi to cover his escape long enough to get outside of the Leaf Village. "No. I warned you. Sloga," said Naruto, as he put everyone in the room in front of him the spell, and moved quickly to attack Danzo, currently in slow motion trying to pierce his mother's prison while his other arm was trying to remove the bandages over his covered eye. Naruto grabbed the weapon-wielding appendage with the thin blade in Danzo's hand only mere inches from the glass before the blonde broke the arm at the elbow and then sliced it off with his own sword. The slow scream was music to Naruto's ears, as he grabbed the now exposed side of Danzo's face that now showed the man had a Sharingan eye with his thumb in the War Hawk's eye socket, and dug his thumb into the sensory organ that soon exploded once pressure was applied. Danzo himself tried to fight back, as he used his now only remaining hand, and pulled a kunai out before trying to stab Naruto. The attack proved fruitless, as Naruto dodged the first attempt, then broke the man's right leg at the kneecap, and make Danzo let go of the kunai by force before running his sword into the old cripple's chest with enough force to send the body into a nearby wall. While this was happening, the other Rudanbu had been taken down by the others behind with ease thanks to the spell making Danzo's force move in slow motion. Well, that was fun, Gaki. What do you do for an encore, Naruto? Naruto? Said Tsunade, as she knocked out the last Rudanbu, and looked at Naruto walking up to the cylinder prison that held his mother in liquid chakra. For a moment, no one spoke a single word, as the two remaining Uzumakis left in all of the elemental countries locked eyes with each other, and when the son raised his hand onto her glass prison, the mother returned it with a hand of her own. Kushina, for all the pain she was in, smiled down at her son, as he let a small smile appear on his face, and the bond between the two had been made. They would soon have much to catch up on. Konoha Hospital 3 days later. If there was one thing the now late Danzo had done right in making Kushina's bloodline extracting prison, regardless of it being a failure, was that he had made the woman's prison transferable while keeping her alive. It had taken a lot of hours, keeping Kushina away from the public eye so they wouldn't see her like she was now when brought to the hospital, with only Tsunade, Shizune, and Haku being allowed to monitor her condition. After that happened, a sweep of the underground base was done, and countless papers filled with incriminating evidence of crimes that Danzo had done over the years were all here. Of course, Danzo had justified it in the belief that it would benefit the village, and not his own pocket, with the latter being the case instead of the former. There was even plans for Konoha long after the Sandaime died, which would involve Danzo eventually becoming Hokage, and turning Konoha into what he called a pure shinobi village that would be so strong that no one would be able to stop him. Even worse was that Danzo still had plans from years ago when the Kyuubi first attacked Konoha to use the demon vessel to become his perfect weapon. Apparently, Danzo had long suspected a demon vessel existing, which was Naruto in this case, and had spent a great deal of time long after the matter was dropped searching for the blonde boy to make his prize weapon. Such plans involved stirring the public to hate the boy, deprive him of everything, beat any kind of resistance Naruto would have inherited from his biological parents at an early age, and then befriend the boy before putting him in the root program. All of it made Tsunade sick to her stomach. Though that could wait until later, as Tsunade had to deal with getting Kushina healthier again long enough for the woman to get out of that glass prison alive, and without pissing off Naruto. Even after the injuries the man had when Kushina was taken away, the old war hawk was still, for that specific moment in time, alive, and was left alone with the now angry Uzumaki Naruto while his mother was carefully taken away. Tsunade didn't know what exactly happened when she left the two alone in the room, but she knew from the screams, the agony, and the terror that filled Danzo's lungs that the pain the blonde was giving him could get the boy charged as a war criminal if anyone had witnessed it. It proved a solid point for anyone around her, who heard Danzo's screams of pain, and shivered at the revelation concerning Naruto. When facing the blonde Gaki, make sure that it was strictly business, and never make it personal for him. When it was business, Naruto was the Black Angel of Death. But if it was personal? Then Naruto would turn into the avatar of the Shinigami. You don't have to come here every day, Naruto. Her condition is a slowly changing one and it will require well over a month to recover until she can get out of that tank, said Tsunade, as she entered the room to see Naruto just standing there looking at his mother with his hand on the glass with Kushina returning it. I know. But there is so much I wish to talk to her about, and even with the link we have right now I feel it not enough, said Naruto, as he saw Tsunade nod in the glass reflection of his mother's tank, and then the Hokage walking up to him before placing a hand on his shoulder. Look, Naruto, I know you want to spend every single day with your mother, but I can't let you do that, and I need you elsewhere now that Danzo is gone. That red-headed girl that was Orochimaru's bodyguard when she was with the Sound 4, who was Kin's only real friend back in Sound, needs to be interrogated, and right now Aviki is having his hands full with the last of the Rudanbu after Jiraiya removed their seals they have on their tongues. I need you to do it yourself, said Tsunade, as she saw Naruto nod, since that was one of those things on his priority list, but had become delayed with all that has happened in his life recently, and knew that Tayuya had yet to be processed. Very well, but I don't need tell you that her freedom from this containment unit should be your first priority, and that only your most trusted of Anbu should watch over my mother, said Naruto, as he saw Tsunade nod at that, and was pleased with herself for putting Yugao's Anbu team on it. Trust me, Naruto, I knew your mother for a long time, and I will do everything in my power to make sure she can smother you with all the love Kushina can give you, said Tsunade, as she smiled at him, and he nodded, though from the sudden frown on his face she could tell something had crossed his mind. When Danzo spoke of my mother, he mentioned my father being the Yondaime, and that I was the man's son. Is that correct? Said Naruto, as he saw Tsunade wince at that, and gave a nod at what Danzo said being true. He knew what a rare few knew, which was that Kushina married your father in secret, but Danzo never knew you were their child until he heard your last name, and wanted your father's clan secrets along the same as your mother's own. Though your father's would have taken longer to learn, and since Danzo wasn't getting any younger, the old war hawk figured your mother's side would be easier to obtain first, said Tsunade, as she saw Naruto narrow his eyes, and knew he was thinking back to when he killed the old bastard. I should have made him suffer more. Nevertheless, since I am the Yondame's son, I would like to move into the Namikaze clan estates, and have the others do the same too, said Naruto, as he wanted to move into a home that wasn't so crowded, and give their new dog a chance to stretch its legs out more. You can move in by the end of the week if you want, Naruto, but you'll have to tell your housemates later today, and the others that already know your secrets, said Tsunade, as she saw him nod his head in understanding, and left to go pay Tayuya a visit. Interrogation Unit Cell Number 282,374, Tayuya felt like crap right now, but then again that was nothing new since the red-headed girl always felt like that, and while she hated it there was no way to change it either. After the failed invasion of the Leaf, Tayuya fully expected them to torture her, basically tell them everything she knew, and then throw her broken body away with the scraps to be eaten by the maggots at the prison they'd ship her off to. However, that day never came, as she waited on her medical bed before being transferred to the cell she was in now, and awaited the day when the top brass from the interrogation unit Orochimaru warned everyone back in Soundabout to avoid. So the big question in Tayuya's mind now was, where was the big brass big bald interrogator that was going to make her spill her guts? She soon got her answer when the door to her prison opened and the figure masked by the light behind the robed individual now looking at her with scary glowing blue eyes. Wait. Scary glowing blue eyes? Only one person she knew, however briefly, had those eyes, and they scared the hell out of her worse than Orochimaru's did. The Sanin's eyes had been cruel, with a hint of humor in everything he did when dissecting something alive or dead, while the pair of eyes of the person standing in front of her were colder than the peak of the highest mountain top in winter. Oh shit, muttered Tayuya, as she realized that the Hokage had unleashed upon her the biggest balls, biggest of brass of an individual at Konoha's disposal, and right now his sights were set on her. Hello Tayuya. I assume you know why I am here? Said Naruto, as he shut the door behind him, and took a few steps closer while the darkness of the cell wrapped around him like a second cloak. Because you want to know stuff that I know, which if I don't tell you, then you're going to force the information out of me, and then throw me away in a prison once I have, said Tayuya, as she looked up at those eyes, and began to sweat at the sight of him. For the most part. I spoke to your old friend from Sound and she actually wanted me to handle this interrogation instead of Ibiki. I think she did it because she cares about you, said Naruto, as he saw Tayuya narrow her eyes at him, and yet was cautious not to give away anything to him. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm one of the Sound Four for Orochimaru of the Sanin. I have no friends, said Tayuya, as she was silently surprised that her tongue had yet to create a string of curses, and mentally believed it was because this person would do something to make her regret a single word that came out of her mouth. You mean the late Orochimaru? The traitorous Sanin formerly of the Leaf is no more. The forces of the Sound were obliterated, the other members of your group have already been interrogated, and surrendered any information you may know if not more. As for the person you claim is not your friend, I do believe Tsuchi-kin will be disheartened to hear you say that, and that I failed to reintegrate you into the Leaf since your curse seal is no longer an influence on your mind, said Naruto, as he saw Tayuya's eyes widen at that, and tried to move if it weren't for the heavy shackles that kept his seals on them to lock away her chakra. Is he messing with me? Kin is alive? The snake bastard is dead? Thought Tayuya, as she had hard time believing it since her memory of that moment was still blurry for her due to the impact her skull made when it hit the ground thanks to the blonde spell, and the lack of the curse seal didn't help her memory either. It happened after the Chunin preliminaries and she told the Sandaime everything about Orochimaru's invasion plans in exchange for protection from the Sanin. The elderly Kage put her in my custody ever since and has been a guest in my household ever since, said Naruto, as he saw Tayuya narrow her eyes at him with suspicion now, and saw the fire that Kin had told him about. And what exactly does she have to do to stay in your house? Chores? Is she your servant now? Your little sex slave? Said Tayuya, as she knew that certain laws within shinobi villages allowed such things to happen, and while they were rarely ever used, they were never removed either. No. She none of those things you speak of, Tayuya-san. Just a guest in my house, who can leave whenever she wishes to, and had yet to ask for such emancipation. What she did ask of me, however, was convincing you to defect to the side of the Leaf, and be a shinobi among its ranks, said Naruto, as he saw Tayuya continuing to eye him for any deceit, and kept his face unreadable. Say I join the Leaf, which is a big if in my case, and I tell you what you already know about Sound with what Orochimaru had set up there. What's the upside to it? Said Tayuya, since it was always good to hear the other side out before turning them down if the offer wasn't good enough. Aside from not being locked up in a prison where both guards and prisoners will make daily attempts to break your spirit, you will receive retraining in what you know, what you don't know, and anything else that you have yet to learn, said Naruto, as he saw Tayuya thinking the offer over, and wondered if this was true since no shinobi village would be this merciful. And during my re-education, where exactly do I stay in the leaf, since I doubt anyone will let a former enemy of Konoha, and Orochimaru's former bodyguard a home? Said Tayuya, as she saw Naruto staring at her with that damn face of his, and those piercing eyes that were causing her to feel something running through her body right now. I already discussed this with Kin, and she has wished you to stay with me at our shared home to ensure that re-education, as you called it, will go along smoothly. Do you object to such a deal? Said Naruto, as he sees Tayuya still thinking the deal over in her head, and he could tell she was the kind of girl who thinks before leaping with a tactician-like mind. Tell your Hokage I'll convert to the leaf and take my re-education class. Though I want to point out, I'm only staying with you so I can be with my friend, and I'm not spreading my legs for you, said Tayuya, as she saw Naruto raise an eyebrow at that, and the once foul-mouthed redhead wondered if this super serious kid was given the talk yet, since it was pretty obvious what she was talking about. I'll let her know, said Naruto, as he left the room, and missed the shocked look that was on Tayuya's face. Holy shit. The Hokage is a woman now? Thought Tayuya, as she had been locked up way too long, and needed to get out soon. Konoha's barbecue restaurant later that day, Naruto drank some tea, as he watched Shinon Team 9 celebrate Lee's recovery from his injuries when battling Gaara, and the young mini guy flexing his muscles behind his green spandex clothing. Tsunade had performed surgery needed to fix the broken bones the poor boy had suffered during the Chunin exam preliminaries, and now was fit for active duty. Provided Lee take it easy and not going all crazy in his training for a few days. As for Neji, he was less serious now, and was now smiling on occasion during the time they spent celebrating, while getting a little freaked out when Lee started to hug him, and saying how great the Hyuga's springtime of youth now was. Neji then decided to switch places with Naruto, but in exchange had to deal with an angry Tenten since she was enjoying the blonde's company, and didn't want him to move. Naruto kept his thoughts on the matter to himself, as he watched his student in the art of swordsmanship look at him with eyes filled with affection, and it was clear she wanted to be more than friends. Though Naruto knew Tenten wasn't the only female out to be more than just friends from what he had read about relationships from a book he had loaned out from the library. Jiraiya of course had tried to corrupt him with the Icha Icha Paradise series, which failed miserably since various female members of Konoha had developed a special sense, and stopped the Sannin from handing the orange book to the boy. If Naruto had developed a sense of humor, he would have laughed at the state the man was in after they got through with him, and given a good kick to the Sannin's body before leaving it to slowly die from internal bleeding. Sadly, that would make him look heartless in front of the female populace, and he could not have that. Regardless of how tempting the opportunity was. Yosh. I feel so much better thanks to Hokage-sama. If only I could unleash my springtime of youth to its fullest potential, said Lee, as he was so excited to be at 100% that he didn't see the bottle in his hands was not his, but rather it was Guy's sake, and took a small sip of it before things went wrong. Very wrong. It was in that instant, Lee became drunk, angry, and the anger was aimed Hyuga Neji for the years of bullying the branch family member had delivered upon the bowl-haired boy's person. Lee moved faster than anyone had ever seen him move with weights on, as he broke the wooden table, and slugged Neji right in the face. Guy moved to stop Lee while Tenten went to help Neji, and Naruto him was now studying the situation before deciding on the proper course of action. Lee had effectively outmaneuvered Guy in an unpredictable fashion and was making his way towards Naruto to get to Neji to deliver a few more blows to the down Hyuga. Of course, Naruto couldn't let that happen, even if part of him felt Neji deserved it from what Tenten had told him about the Hyuga boy's attitude towards his teammate, and decided that one big beating was enough for branch family member for one lifetime. Uv Naruto, said Lee, clearly too drunk to speak clearly, and charged at Naruto with the intent to knock the blonde away. Naruto, however, was not about to let Lee pass even with Guy already moving to intercept his student before any further bodies and property were damaged further. So when Lee got within punching range of Naruto, the blonde got into a taijutsu battle with the green spandex user being highly aggressive, and trying to knock the young black angel of death down to get to the Hyuga prodigy. However, Lee didn't get the chance, as Guy had stuck from behind the boy while he grappled with Naruto, and kneeing the blonde repeatedly in the right side of his ribs in quick hard succession before being forced into consciousness. When Lee did lose consciousness, Naruto let go of the boy, and let Guy take hold of him while Kyubi worked on his own injuries. That was impressive, Naruto-san. No, even I could take all those shots to the body and still be standing afterwards, said Guy. As he saw Naruto, though, you could see he had now moved his arm to protect that side of his ribs, and turned to see Neji walking over to them with some minor support from Tenten while massaging his bruised face. And his ego. A necessary evil needed to grant you time to stop Lee. Do you know what it was that made act in such a manner? Said Naruto, as he saw Guy frown, and held his bottle sake for them to see. It's a rare thing to see in someone like Lee. To think, the boy is skilled in the ways of the drunken alcohol fist, and with just from a tiny sip of sake at that, said Guy, as he was now looking at this new possibility in a new light, and saw Naruto nod since this could be beneficial to Lee's training. Yes. Though make sure he uses such an action as a last resort in battle only, since it is very clear that this power will need more focus in terms of direction, and further study before such a skill is properly unleashed on the shinobi world, said Naruto, as he closed his eyes, felt Kyuubi's power put his ribs back, and let out a small sigh of relief. I'll inform the Hokage of this right away. Again, I must apologize for Lee's actions, and the injuries he caused you, said Guy, as he now had Tenten grab an unconscious Lee, and shaking him violently for doing that to Naruto. No need for apologies, Guy-san. I've had worse injuries. Though due to the small battle we've created, I believe this celebration has come to an end, and a hefty bill will be sent to one of us for the damage caused here at this establishment, said Naruto, as he had already calculated a rough estimate, and knew he could afford it should the bill be sent to him. Lee is my student, so I will take the bill, Naruto-san, said Guy, as he saw Naruto nod his head before turning to Neji, and saw the Hyuga nodding his own head to the blonde for helping in his hour of need. Tenten, having only now stopped shaking Lee, looked like she wanted to kiss Naruto's ribs to make them all better. In private, of course. If I am no longer needed, then I will return to my home, said Neji, as he gave a small bow, and left with Guy carrying Lee on his shoulders. Would you like me to walk you home, Tenten-chan? Said Naruto, as he decided to be a gentleman in this case, and do what the book said gentlemen should do. Yes. I mean, of course, Naruto-kun, I would like that very much, said Tenten, as she was blushing now while feeling giddy right now, and walked with her arm now around Naruto's after he offered it to her. Uzumaki household that night. What do you mean you've slept in his bed? Said Tayuya, as she had just been released from her cell, got some clean clothes thanks to Naruto buying them, with Kin's help since she knew the redhead's measurements, and got to know the rest of this little family that was shacked up with the blonde juggernaut. So? It's not like we did it. We're just getting him used to the idea of sleeping in the same bed with another person, said Kin, as she blushed at the idea of what Tayuya just implied, and so did the other girls, with Nibi still tormenting Yugito with perverted ideas of giving Naruto a special wake-up he wouldn't soon forget. So he's a guy with detachment issues. I don't see what the whole attraction is to him, and why you would even want to be. He's almost like an emo, said Tayuya, as she saw the trio of women, Nibi excluded for obvious reasons, growling at the redhead since Naruto was not an emo like the Uchiha. It's not that, Tayuya-san. From what Naruto has told us, he had been trained since the first few days after his birth to be the ultimate weapon, and has never once known emotions like he is only now feeling now, said Haku, as she had asked him about his training, and while Naruto did not give enough details, what he told her in confidence gave the young woman chills down her spine. So? Said Tayuya, as she had a rough life too, but she didn't act like a walking glacier, and even if she did it wouldn't be this bad. Tayuya-chan, we're talking about someone who was trained to be a weapon, and would have been Orochimaru's wet dream in terms of a vessel. Even before the invasion plan was underway, the Sannin heard the rumors about Naruto, and we both know even he was slightly hesitant in going through with the invasion plan with Suna, said Kin, as she saw Tayuya still not looking convinced, and the trio knew they were going to have to hit the redhead with a bombshell. Naruto-kun is also a demon vessel and hold the Kyuubi inside of him, said Yugito, as she saw Tayuya's eyes widen, and now starting to get a scared look in her eyes. What? You mean he's some kind of monstrous freak of nature who, said Tayuya, as she stopped when she sensed a figure entering the room with her back to him, and realized he had been in the room long enough to hear that last part. Naruto-kun, thought Kin, Yugito, and Haku with worry in their hearts while Naruto was staring at Tayuya with unreadable eyes. Naruto. Look, I know that whole comment about you being a monstrous freak of nature was just a spur of the moment, and completely uncalled for, so I want to say right now that I am really sorry. Please don't kill me, said Tayuya really fast in a panicked voice, as Naruto walked slowly and calmly towards her person currently on her knees begging for mercy. What is that old saying, Haku-chan? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, I believe it was. And that is a simple truth for me, Tayuya-san, But while they do not hurt me, I must admit I am very disappointed in you in terms of your reaction to one of my closely guarded secrets, and would have thought someone trained by the late Orochimaru would have had a better grasp on such news, said Naruto, as he just put his hand on Tayuya's red-haired head, and gave it a gentle patting before walking off to his room to retire for the night. Had anyone seen his face, however, they would have seen the look of sorrow on Naruto's face, and that Tayuya's words did hurt him. I fucked up, didn't I? Said Tayuya, as she saw the three girls glare at her before Haku ran after him. Yugito hissed at her, and Kin, well, she just walked to a room she would be sharing with the redhead until they moved into the Namikaze estates within the week. Even the young puppy Zabuza growled at Tayuya before running off to its master to give him the love and comfort worthy of an alpha protecting its pack. Even if those in the pack didn't want it and threw it in the alpha's face. Yeah. I fucked up big time, thought Tayuya, as she sighed in defeat, and wondered if she would even last the week being around the blonde before she was locked up after failing in her re-education. With Naruto, you know that not everyone was going to embrace the fact that you are not a monster just because you hold the QB inside your body. Naruto-kun, said Haku, as she saw Naruto in his room removing his clothing, and preparing for bed. I know Haku-chan, but to be honest, given the intelligence Tayuya-san possessed, and her experience working with Orochimaru, said Naruto, as he had calculated a high chance of Tayuya being understanding to such things, and understand the difference between the two. I know you are good in calculating people's actions, Naruto-kun, but not everybody can be calculated, and there will be times when people will surprise you. She may not be so warm to you now, Naruto-kun, but I know that if given the chance, she will see you are not the fiend she thinks you are, and will come to see you in a different light, said Haku, as she stripped herself of her clothes down to her unmentionables, and hugged him in a loving embrace before she kissed his face in a tender fashion. I know. I'm honored that you, Yugito, Kin, Tenten, Hinata, and all the others in my life love me regardless of what I hold. In a way, I was one of the luckier demon vessels due to growing up away from the hate I would have experienced here, and had a chance to grow. And yet, I still feel like a part of me is still suppressed because of it, said Naruto, as he walked with Haku to the bed, and they got into bed before they began to snuggle. But even still, that part of you is coming out with each passing day, Naruto-kun, and it's going to be a wonderful thing to see once it's free, said Haku, as she wrapped her body around his, and they basked in the other's warming embrace. What would I be without you and the others? Said Naruto, as he slowly let sleep take him, and felt Haku's hand meld with his upper body. Like we all would be without you, Naruto-kun. Cold and alone, said Haku, as she fell to sleep first, and let her mind fill with dreams of her future with the blonde. Had she been awake a little longer, Haku would have heard Naruto make a silent vow, and the power of conviction behind it. I will never let you or anyone else I care about in this world be like that, Haku. I swear it, said Naruto before sleep finally reached him and let the blonde dream.